Redditors with thin walls, what have you heard in your apartment? My upstairs neighbors taking turns zapping each other with a stun gun, hitting the floor, groaning in pain, and then laughing like Beavis and Butthead. This is a special breed of dumb. I've heard my neighbor giving his granddaughter a xylophone. For birthday I guess. She could play it well, and kept playing for a while. Immediately after she left I could hear him trying to play something his granddaughter played. He practiced for a solid hour, until he managed to play this song correctly, and stopped with a joyful yes. It was one of the purest things I've ever experienced. Someone sneezed. We said bless you. They laughed. Damn it Lawrence, can't you just pretend like we can't hear each other through the wall? You're only with me for the crack. My next door neighbors. Yes I am. Calm down Dr. Poo Poo Head, you are acting very unprofessional. I lived next to a couple some years ago, and they came home after a night out and started fighting about who was better at darts. I thought they were joking, but it got pretty heated. Doors were slammed. Edit. Since people are asking, they were playing darts at the bar earlier that night. From what I could tell they were playing as a team and the boyfriend wasn't pulling his weight and was super defensive about it, had an off night. Allegedly, the girlfriend was mad he couldn't accept she was better. I'm no detective, but think they had some relationship issues bigger than darts. Yesterday when I was taking a poop my neighbor was blasting classical music on full volume. It was the most majestic and relaxing poop I've taken in a long time. I moved from far away, so I have a different state license plate than everyone else at the apartment complex. A couple of days ago I had my upstairs neighbor drunkenly ranting to his wife about what he thinks I'm up to. He's convinced that I'm on the run from something. I'm just in grad school mayo. Okay, but take a second to realize the opportunity you have here. I'd personally play this one out. Give vague answers when asked about your life. When walking to your car, look over both shoulders at least once a week. Fake a phone call while they're home with a vague but suspicious conversation. If you see them in the hallway, ask them if they've seen someone resembling a sketchy character you've made up. You have a chance to be truly mysterious. They'll tell stories of you for years to friends about the neighbor, who may have been on the run. Pre-dawn hours, blizzard outside, everything's still and quiet. My roommate and I heard our neighbor on the other side of the firewall fart, wet and deep like a stifled baritone sax, and exclaimed to himself in a twisted combination of awe and disgust, "Oh my god." We burst out laughing, and hear him chime in with pride, "Did you guys hear that?" Vindicated that his fart was heard, and forever lives in our memories. I lived next to a guy who took care of his disabled girlfriend. She stayed home with a nurse while he worked to support them and pay for her healthcare. Everyone really admired him for it. He used to get drunk and tell her that if she doesn't start putting out he's gonna throw her ass out. How the hell did that get so grim so fast? I know, right? Talk about mood whiplash. My parents told me stories about the apartment they lived in when I was a baby. The lady above us was a classically trained pianist and her music room was above my room. Apparently when I would start crying in my crib she would start playing, and I would go right to sleep. After my parents divorced my dad stayed in the same apartment. A few years later, when I went to visit him, I was about 10 or 11. I got to finally meet her for the first time. The woman who used to play me to sleep as a baby taught me how to play the piano 10 years later. An argument about money while I was doing the dishes. It ended with a slammed door and one of them on a piano, hitting the keys like a maniac. Some people read, some people go get something to eat, some people exercise. This methodica relieves stress by going crazy on a piano. Lol. Angrily plays Mozart. William. We do not hit. His mom was visiting. He was 30. Poor mom. I feel bad for laughing at this. I woke up one morning in a daze, started walking down my stairs. I live in a townhouse/condo, and paused and farted, way louder than I expected. My neighbor next door started laughing so hard from her living room. Jinnah, I love you. Jinnah no. Jinnah, damn it, put the knife down. At this point, both the apartments adjoining to Jinnah's called the police. Jinnah's husband decided to spend the night elsewhere. Our neighbors were once talking loud, and I was nosy, so I put my ear up to the wall and realized she was reading him Harry Potter pretty enthusiastically, and it made my heart melt. I could hear my neighbor fart, and when her phone went off on vibrate, it was like having roommates I couldn't see. Oh, I thought they were connected. Every time her phone went off, she farted. My flatmates and I had a joke that if someone used the upstairs washroom we would shout a yapoopin. One day someone above our top floor, the third floor was studio apartments, screamed, "How the hell do you always know?" More what my neighbor heard. I'm a deep sleeper and was an even deeper sleeper as a teenager. My phone alarm was going off for 30 minutes and my neighbors could hear it through the walls, assumed it was a burglar alarm, and called the police. Waking up to the police banging on my door was confusing. The alarm worked, just in a roundabout way. Task failed successfully. One day my neighbor was spontaneously singing the national anthem, America, and stopped midline and cussed because they messed up the words. So I sang the correct next line, and they burst out laughing before coming back in and finishing the song with me. I still never met that neighbor. 10/10ths voice. My downstairs neighbor, a 40-something Moroccan gentleman, playing various video game songs on his piano for his son who came to visit. It was very cute and wholesome. My roommate talking to himself. I sometimes laughed quietly at his jokes. Edit, since you're asking. They're not really jokes, but just random, silly things he said. Your neighbor tells jokes to himself. Does he laugh at them too? Because I have to figure he already knows the punchline. Sometimes that takes the humor out of a joke. They were more silly things he said than jokes. Neighbor worked at and hired a new sitter. New sitter invited 2 guys over. Kids were only 3 and one heard her say, "If we leave to go to the corner store now, the kids will be fine alone for 20 minutes. And heard them talking about popping some of mom's Xanax and selling them. Then they promptly left. I walked out, knocked on the door and the 3-year-old boy came out. I called the police, went into the apartment, found mom's work number next to the sink, and she was furious. Left work and came back home, and as she was walking up to thank me and the officers, the babysitter and guys came into the complex. Mind you, this was all within an hour, not 20 minutes lol. Mom whooped babysitter, then called babysitter's mom, and she got another whooping. Got offered a sitting job after that and took it, lol. Also have heard one of my neighbors talking in tongues and yodeling. Glad I don't live in apartment anymore. Heard the couple next door arguing. The wife was furious because she realized he had been cheating on her after she found out she had chlamydia. He tried to convince her that she must have been the unfaithful one. She still lives there. He doesn't. Similar one, my brother and I shared an apartment, and he told me one morning that the night before he had heard one of the male college students in the apartment above us having a heated discussion with what he assumes is the guy's girlfriend. He could only hear the guy's half of the conversation, but the line that most caught his attention was a very sincere, "I wouldn't have come in her mouth if I loved her." Not quite what I've heard, but more. Once I realized my previous apartment had very thin walls, my roommate and I would just yell at each other from our respective rooms if we needed something. It was great. No one had to leave bed. Hey Peter, man. Check out channel 9. I actually manage an apartment complex where my office is surrounded by a 1-bedroom unit. The building is old and the walls are thin. The tenant that used to live in the unit was a quiet man, but would frequently sing beautiful opera music. His voice was amazing, and I loved it every time I heard him sing. Then one time I saw him in the halls, and made the mistake of asking if he was the one who sang these beautiful opera songs. His face turned red, but he confirmed that it was him. I told him that I always enjoyed it when I heard him sing, and that it would always brighten my day. Never should have said anything, because I never heard him sing again. The mother screaming at her eldest son, "Why don't you love me? You never do anything around here. You don't love your siblings. You're horrible." Name. Inaudible wailing. So that's fun. I once heard an argument that went a little like this. "Stop treating me like I'm stupid. You asked if seahorses were mammals, Jessica. They give live birth.